Welcome to Mindfulness India Summit podcast series. Mindfulness India Summit is first of its kind and Asia's largest comprehensive summit on mindfulness and emotional intelligence backed by neuroscience. The inaugural two-day summit was held in November 2018 at Mumbai with more than 200 participants, over 30 speakers, industry leaders and experts in the field as a dialogue on the importance and benefits of mindfulness and emotional intelligence at workplace. These practices are known to build stronger leadership skills, enhanced performance, and overall emotional well-being for the individual and the organization. The series is led by Mr. Manish Bahal, founder Mindfulness India Summit and Beyond Mind. Mr. Manish Bahal in conversation with Mr. Sudhanshu Vats.
Today, challenges are given norm in day-to-day work environment. These can appear unexpectedly in many forms and can cause imbalance in our work as well as personal life. A leader's capacity come into play when he is able to manage these challenges and difficulties, whether they are internal or external. That is why it becomes necessary to build individual capacity to bring change in the organization and increase capability to handle unexpected situations calmly. The leader is at the front line in building capacity and capability in an organization. Today we have with us Mr. Sudhanshu Vats, Group CEO of Viacom 18. As a CEO of a well-known media company, Mr. Vats has been a guiding force in building capability and capacity as well as focus within his organization. Let's ask him how to build focus and capability in client and organizations in given 21st century. Over to you, Mr. Sudhanshu.
So I think, for me personally, if you ask me from day one and until today, and I think it's an ongoing journey, the most critical task is building the capacity in the organization. Because I firmly believe in a very simple thing, that the only thing which comes in the way of growing an organization or growth is capacity. I don't think it's resources, I don't think it's ideas, it's basically the capacity, which is basically needs to be built collectively and individually. You think, so that's very critical. And to me, one of the essential ingredients of building capacity is culture. And therefore, values. So therefore, how do we go about doing some of these things in the way we do it, so that we allow, and as I was building from what I was saying earlier, in the new world, we've got to allow everyone, and starting with myself, to come into the organization and be myself. First of all, so therefore you have to be who you are and not worry about who you. I think the room for pretenses is not there, and it's not appreciated, and it's not productive. So I think, so therefore the thing is that how do we build that? And therefore the focus for me has been a lot in this area as to how do we build culture, what do we go about doing these things. And let me give you a few nuggets and a few examples of the things which we are attempting to do. It's an ongoing journey, and I think it's far from complete, it will continue. But I think to me, first is therefore we've got to define as we go forward as to what values do we live with, define them, and then try to embody them, and then finally try to live them. So in our journey thus far as a company, I think we've defined them, definitely, the 5 values. We are beginning to, embody them a little bit. The stories around them are beginning to emerge, but I think we've got to learn to live them. I think that's critical. So that's an important piece, because that's what binds you together. It's like a family, It's like what you call traditions over a period of time, and that's critical. That's an invisible glue, but that's a very, very critical glue. The second piece which is there is also to be able to collaborate and make people and bring people into everything which you do. So that's the second theme, which is very, very close to my heart. So everything which we do, we've got to bring everyone into it in as much as possible, and bring them in fully. So they come in with their minds, they come in with their bodies, because sometimes in the past the thing has been that we've thought this through and you go do execute it. Today we've got to think it through collectively, and ideally execute it collectively. And chances of the probability of success of that thing goes up if you do that. So I think that's the second piece in the area of collaboration. And I think third thing which is very critical in the new world is, interestingly, as much as there is data and information, there is also a lot of misconception. So therefore, the need to communicate in the new world is, in my opinion, higher than what it was in the past. And it's a little paradoxical, but I think that's therefore the third theme is, how do we communicate and communicate over and over again? To me, you never communicate enough. So I think there is room to continue to communicate in various ways. They could be one-on-one, they could be formal, they could be informal, and there are rituals we build around it, and so on and so forth. Meet up with people, so on and so forth. They could be classic town halls, they could be Q&As, ask me anything, those all kinds of stuff. So I think the point is that that is becoming very critical.
Thank you, Mr. Woods, for this great insight. We hope all listeners and leaders have got a different perspective about how top industry leaders build capacity and capability in their organizations. So, here are some important points brought out during this discussion. Capacity need to be built collectively and individually. Culture and value are essential part in building a mindful organization. Number 2, being yourself and having no space for pretentious leadership. The value in every organization must be defined, embodied, and finally lived as a company. Number 3, collaboration is a combined effort within the organization, also enables capacity building. Collective thinking leads to collective performance. Number 4, there is greater need for communication in today's world. We hope these ideas and suggestions will enable you to cultivate an environment for your team where capacity, creativity, and innovations thrive. We will be back with a new episode every week. Thank you for listening. This is your host and friend Manish Bhill signing off. See you soon.